Have you ever wondered what makes bodies tick? Are you creating the sexual reality you desire and require? Would you like to know more about what else is possible with bodies? What if your fantasies are not as strange as you thought they were? What if you could learn to be kinder to your body and kinder to others' bodies? Would you like to create confidence in the bedroom and beyond? How has your sex life or lack of it affected other areas of your life? Have you lost your mojo and wondered where to find it? Everyone has the potency to be a sexual superhero. Get ready to listen, sense, and play with the sexualness that is you. Now, here is the host of The Pleasure Zone, Body Whisperer, Milica Jelenic.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Pleasure Zone. I'm your host, Milica Jelenic, and before I introduce you to my guest tonight, Juna Guetter, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. So I just wanted to let you guys know why I keep choosing this show. Not that I have to have a why for it. I just keep choosing it because this show keeps choosing me. And one of the things that inspires me most is you guys. I love hearing from you guys. I love hearing from you via text. I love hearing from you via email on Facebook. I love the feedback I get from you guys about this show. I have so many people who write to me and are so grateful for the shows that I do, whether it's with guests or alone. And so many people are giving me such great feedback that these shows are actually changing people's lives, and I'm so, so grateful for that. One of the things that has inspired me to do these topics about sex and bodies is that I know there's a lot of judgment, there's a lot of expectation, and there's a lot of projections put onto bodies. And one of the things that I really started to get more awareness of through the tools of access consciousness was that this judgment and expectation and projection that's put on bodies actually creates this sort of like massive limitation in what people are willing to receive or change with their bodies. And so for me, one of the things that I would like to see more of on the planet is to actually see people actually start to have way more ease with their bodies, way less judgment of themselves and with their bodies. And tonight our topic is actually going to be about relationships and bodies. It has to do with, where we actually involve our bodies in relationship and where we don't. And so many times we actually create this separation as if our bodies are not to be included in the choices that we are making for our lives in relationship, whether it's with others or in business, whatever it happens to be. So one of the things, too, that I really like exploring on this planet is movement and movement of bodies and movement of energy, and just really getting more to know, for me personally, what actually really works for me and my body. And then when I work with others, it's to really get to know for them, what are they willing to receive? Because a lot of times, having clients come to me, some people, claim that they're ready to get the miracle, but a lot of times their bodies actually are just not at that place to receive that. So it's always good whenever you're going into a session or you're ready to receive from somebody, no matter what modality it's from, is to really break down all of your expectations, projections, judgments, rejections, and separations that you have. Even if you're going into a class, even if you're going into a private session, just really start to eliminate all of those things, and you're going to start to notice that you can receive way more than you expected or even thought you could. So that's one of my tools to hand out for you guys today is please start to just look at what your projections, expectations, judgments, rejections, and separations. And if you don't know what those are, feel free to contact me and we can talk about it. And just notice what they are, acknowledge them. One of the key things to start to change something is to first acknowledge it and then to start to choose different. So if you are noticing that you have an expectation, acknowledge it, and then you have the choice to choose different or not. Neither is right or wrong. It's just that you're now aware of it. So one of the people that I know who has this, another person that I know that has phenomenal capacities with bodies is Juna Guetter. And she actually works with Access Consciousness as well, the tools of Access Consciousness. She's a 3-day body process facilitator. And what does that mean? It means this woman has put in a lot of time, hours, and energy to actually get this title. And so she has facilitated a lot of bodies, a lot of people around the world, so that she can actually bring to people a 3-day body class where you get to explore the magic of what you be with bodies, and also to start to really get where you can ramp up your facilitation abilities if you already have like amazing capacities with bodies and you'd like to ramp that up. It also helps you to really look at the different places where maybe you're not receiving, where you have limited your stuff with your own body and receiving with your body, or limited what you're willing to be or do with other bodies. So I really love these 3-day body classes, and my body is like super excited to be attending one May 6th to 8th in Toronto. So for those of you listening, if you have the prerequisites of bars and foundation, or formerly foundation level 1, and you would like to join us for an amazing 3 days of receiving with your body and really tapping into your capacities, we would love to have you there. So if you would like more information, you can go to accessconsciousness.com and look up Juna Guetter as a facilitator, and under there you'll find many of her classes. So if it isn't the Toronto class you're choosing, you might find her class coming up in London, England. So I would like to welcome Juna to the show. Hi, Juna. How are you?
Hi, I'm here.
Yay.
Thank you.
The traveling minstrel.
That's true.
It's
yeah,
great.
Sorry I was kind of late, but hey, we're here and all the phones are working.
Absolutely.
How does it get better?
Exactly. So our topic tonight, and I thought we had a pretty fun topic actually, with bodies and relationships. So the question that this show's title is what does your body have to do with choosing relationship? And when we were kind of playing with the topic, I knew that there was something about bodies and relationship, and it was kind of neat. The producer, Christine, kind of came up with this one, and I was like, yeah, that works for me. I really like that because I get so many people actually don't have the awareness of their body and how that's actually influencing their relationship. So, so can you tell me a little bit about what you're aware of with this topic as well?
Sure. I mean, it's about asking your body who you would like to play with, your body would like to touch your body. And, those are kind of weird questions that we weren't really growing up with at all. But they're the questions like, who does your body have sex with, or who do you have a relationship with? It's the body is included, and for many of us, the body is kind of secondary, and we have all these, like you were talking about at the beginning, these expectations and projections that are based on the media or what we think we should be looking for in a person to have a relationship with. So one of my questions that I would invite you all to ask is to ask your body, who would be fun to play with? And the other thing is, even before that, is if you're not playing with your body, if you're not having fun with your body, why would anybody else? So it's in this conversation about bodies and relationship, any of that, if you don't have it for you, if you're not honoring your body with the foods that you eat, the movement that you do, how you touch your body, how would you expect anyone else to do the same? And if maybe some of you out there have been with a lover who knows their body really well, and that is such a joy to be able to play with, because they know what's honoring and nurturing and caring for their body, and they will show you if you're a willing participant in that. So it's just starting to ask your body and bringing your body with you wherever you go. And relationship, it's everywhere. So talking about either intimate relationships, which I think is kind of a juicy topic of tonight, as well as any other kind of relationships that you might be having, like with, parent to child, all of that. And, there's some people have a point of view or an awareness that, babies, choose their parents. They bring their parents together so that they can have them born into the world. So there's lots of different ways that bodies can choose relationships. And I really, I like to go to what you said about letting go of all the projections and expectations that you have. And I'll just share a little story about myself, is that if I had a projection and expectation that my body only wanted to be with a man's body, until I met this woman who is now my lover and friend and business partner, and she's a woman. So being able to let go of those projections and expectations of what I think would be right for me really opened me all up. So I'm a big fan of letting go of all the projections and expectations that you have about bodies, and really start asking, body, who would be fun to play with, who would be nurturing, who has a nurturing touch. And please, please, please start with yourself. And, the way that you put on lotion, the way that you shower your body and all of that, it's you have a relationship with your body. So, Melissa, I kind of threw a whole bunch of stuff at you, and maybe we can pick up one of those threads and play with it and expand on it.
So I love the relationship with your body first, because I do get that there are so many people out there listening, and even when you say that, it's like they all leave, they're like drifting. They're like, I don't know if I can do that. That's really strange. And what does she mean by that? And that whole part about actually having that intimacy with you and your body, number one. And the gift that is to everybody around you when you choose that.
Yeah, I mean, have you been in the presence or when you're feeling that, like you have that deep connection with your body and you, the being, how like living is so much more joyful and playful and healing and nurturing, and you're way more fun to be around than when you're not that. And other people who are, it's like, so, okay, maybe back up a couple of steps. A lot of people, do you know that you have a body? Number one.
Yeah,
and if you think that you are your body, there's more to it than that. So what I have learned and what I'm exploring, and I would never really come to a conclusion about it, but looking at the body and the being. So there's, the physical you, that's the flesh, bones, skin, and also the body has a consciousness and awareness. Like the body is like a cat's whiskers that, how cat's whiskers let them know where they're going and where they're moving. And our bodies are really like our guidance system for our being. And our being is that thing that, thinks thoughts or creates things. And then our body is like the vehicle or the guidance system that can make manifest or actualize those ideas and those things from the sort of the etheric realm into, this reality. So knowing that there's a being and there's a body and that they are connected, and that, the projections that we put onto our body, like many of us put on, oh, I'm too fat, I'm too thin, I'm too much this or not enough of that, those judgments and projections actually create our body in ways that, it's those things where you actually don't want to be that and you become more of that. That's kind of how it works with the body. The body will sort of actualize those things. So when we're treating our body with kindness and caring and healing and nurturing energies and being able to play, the body just goes, ooh, I get to play. And bodies just really love to play. If you think of your body kind of like an animal or a small child, maybe that's kind of a weird analogy, but that's kind of the energy of our bodies. So all of the projections and expectations that you have of what your body is And, if you're connected with your body or you're not, will you just let all of that go and just release all of those projections and expectations now? Thank you.
Totally.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Just before we go to break, I just wanted to kind of put this in a way as well. So another way for people to kind of maybe look at this. So for people who are kind of going, but I am my body, one of the things to kind of observe about this is that as your body changes from when you were an infant, even in utero, to now, your body continually changes, and do you still exist? So you, the being, still continues to exist, even though these physiological changes are going on. You, the being, is always
brilliant.
there. And like you can also
love
observe,
that.
yeah. And the other part of it too is like we often in Access, it's like you're thinking, if you're thinking, you're stinking. But the funny thing about it too, and there's a lot of some teachings from like back in the day that I was like kind of like thinking about recently, and one of them was saying too that you're also not your thoughts, and one of the ways to know you're not your thoughts is because you can observe your thoughts, just like you can observe your body growing from in utero to now, right? It's like you can observe all these things. So if you can observe them, you're actually not them. But they are sort of an aspect of who you be, right? So our bodies are part of this thing that we bring in the world, just like I'm not my T-shirt, but I'm wearing one. So yeah.
Nice.
So I'm gonna, as we go to break, I'd like all of you guys to kind of think about, some of that, like, and how you've been relating to your body as if it maybe was the only aspect of you, or that you are that, and instead of that there is a relationship that is kind of going on between you and your body. So some things to ponder as we head off to our very first break here on The Pleasure Zone tonight.
Many of us have created a lot of limitations around sex and what we are willing to choose. Would you be willing to explore what has already been introduced as sexual practices on this planet? What else is possible beyond what we have already seen, heard, or thought of? What if now is the time for a totally different sexual revolution? Taking the taboo out of all aspects of sex, sexuality, and copulation. By tuning into The Pleasure Zone radio show with body whisperer Milica Jelenic, you'll receive tools, inspiration, and a foundation to allow yourself to receive more in your sex life, and quite possibly other areas of your life as well. Listen for The Pleasure Zone with Milica every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time on a2zen.fm.
Are you driving with the engine warning light on when it comes to listening to your body? Pull over and come to a 3-day body class with Juna Guetter. Is now the time for learning the language of your body? Is now the time to change what isn't working? Now is the time. Juna will be in Toronto and Europe in May, facilitating the 3-day body classes and the Right Body for You taster classes. Is your body asking for this? Take action and register now on the accessconsciousness.com website.
This is The Pleasure Zone with body whisperer Milica Jelenic. To participate in the program today, please call us in the U.S. Call 815-880-8255-TALK or Canada 613-800-8736. Or you can Skype us at a2zen.fm. You can also make the choice to ask for comment by email by sending to Milica at milicajelenic.com. Now, back to the program.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Pleasure Zone. I'm your host, Milica Jelenic, and it's been pretty funny, actually. The fire alarm in my home went off because I guess this show's heating up. It was like, wow, that was interesting. We were going to break. And I'm like, okay, what is everybody in this house doing? Something crazy's going on. So I just want to kind of check in energetically to see what kind of is going on for people in terms of even like looking at what their relationship to their body is to begin with, and choosing to create the relationship with their body. And it seems to me there's like something that kind of shifted energetically. So that's really cool. Like in 2 minutes, you guys sitting there, in question have actually changed some stuff energetically. I love when that shows up.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, and it's a funny thing, like how I talk to people about it too, is give the analogy of a dance with your body and your being as being two dance partners doing the tango or taking dance lessons, and they are actually lessons. Once you figure out that you do have a body and you do have a being, how do they dance together? And a dance is for me, it's a fun analogy and a way of being that it's like, okay, so there's this partner, that partner, and how they play together is really, really fun. And that's where like the magic and the mystery can occur and in our lives. So, and we do have to practice the dance to make it as beautiful as Dancing with the Stars. So there is some practice. And that really is, when it comes to relationships, is asking your body, who you'd like to have a relationship with, who would be fun to play with, that kind of thing. And start playing with your body.
Play with your body. This is like the show where we give you permission to, like, even as you're listening to it, get a little naked. Don't be shy. If this is the first time in your life that you have ever actually touched your own skin, that's awesome. I'm so glad we were part of it. I actually know people who, I know women who come to us for sessions that have literally never touched their own body other than to bathe it, and even at that, I kind of question whether they're doing that. But and maybe their husbands have touched them. Maybe there's this sort of Puritan kind of thing that goes on. Maybe it's Eastern, Northern Ontario. I'm not sure, but there's this like sort of like these Puritan kind of points of view about bodies, and like how it's funny to me that in 2016 there's still this taboo around touching yourself.
Yeah, and how, also play with your body and playing in relationships, playing with bodies. People often go to, masturbation. Well, no, it doesn't have to be. It's like how you shower. It's how you touch yourself, like how with gentleness, kindness, caring, rather than, achieving some kind of result. So, yeah. I have so many thoughts all at once, or so many awarenesses all at once. Last time on the call with you too, it's like,
it's just the willingness. So let's start with even be willing to touch your toes, because I actually know people who have a thing with like, ooh, feet are gross. Like, what if no part of your body was gross at all? Including your toes, including like your own ear. What if none of you is gross? Even if you had your mom and your dad going, oh my gosh, you stink, or your family members, you had siblings that teased you about how you smelled or something. Like, all of that stuff is all their point of view.
Right.
So what if we could, like, if you're, if there's stuff coming up for you and you're kind of going, I'm not going to touch my own toes, that's really gross. So, would it be really fun to just soak them in some water and, like, just see what that's like? See what it feels like to actually allow your feet to have the touch of water on them. Or, I love putting my feet in sand. I love that sensation of warm.
I just did that today.
Nice. Oh, that's like, it makes me feel alive.
Yeah. And it's like we think, ooh, touching our body, but running. We were running up in sand dunes. I'm in Michigan right now, and just running up and down sand dunes, and just feeling the warmth of the sand, and then feeling the contrast of the cold, hard sand near the water, and that was like playing with my body, and it wasn't, overtly sexual, but it was very pleasurable for me. And what would that be like is to, ask your body what would be pleasurable for me and my body. So that's just...
Yeah, and that, I like that you mentioned that it's not that it's overtly sexual, because the thing is, when you are enjoying your body, you actually start to tap into the sexualness you truly be anyway, and that you start to show up in the world in a way that will appear more sexy to people. Whether you're it's not effort. It's actually the most important thing you can do.
Yeah, and I was just reading something today too that, the sexualness is really all about receiving. And, when my feet were receiving the warmth of the sand through my toes. So we often think that sexualness is, the intensity of copulation, putting the body parts together, which it can be, but the sexualness is that yummy energy of pleasure that bodies enjoy. So just kind of definition of language there. And, when we talk about playing with your body, people jump to masturbation, but it's, where in life can we play more with everything? And one of the topics of tonight was, what does your body have to do with choosing relationships, and how, we get serious about relationship. We think, oh my God, relationship, I got to do it right. I got to get that right. And then we're trying to get our bodies right, and then we forget about our bodies because we're trying to do relationship right. And it's just, okay, everybody just relax and, allow yourself to receive from, the breeze on your skin, the chair supporting your bum right now if you're sitting and listening to this. Allow yourself to receive and open to receiving from all of the molecules of the universe. And that is sexual energy, defined in a different way than we might have, been taught our whole lives.
Yeah, I know a lot of people would be like, sitting in the chair can be sexual energy. It's like, actually, your body receiving from everything will ramp that up. It's like fuel. It fuels that in such an amazing way. And it was really something that I truly was not very aware of without the tools of Access Consciousness. I had some understanding of it. I read books on Tantra, tried, I think, even going to some Tantra classes and, read some stuff on the Kama Sutra, because I knew there was more to putting the body parts together than just the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this, there was some kind of formula to orgasm. I knew there was something beyond that formula. And so I was like, hey, there's got to be. And unfortunately or fortunately, whatever it was, it actually took me on quite a journey, and it did put me in a place where I for a while was judging my relationships as so wrong, because they weren't everything the Tantra books were saying was the correct way to have the sex that's going to be enlightening. So I want to bring that up, because a lot of people, when they think of sexual energy, they think of it's got to be like Tantra and there's a way to do it right. That's not true.
Yeah.
So,
I would concur.
So before you go
really
out of yourself on that, just let's move to look at how else you can actually play with sexual energy.
Yeah. And the elements of the 7 fountains of orgasm is the healing, the caring, the nurturing, the playfulness, the expansiveness, the joyfulness, and the orgasm. And so it's very different kind of energies than, the 1, 2, 3, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am type of thing.
Yeah. I would like to know where there was not a saying that goes wham, bam, thank you, sir.
Well,
wham, bam,
doesn't
thank
rhyme,
you, ma'am.
Yeah.
No, there's got to be a version that's something, sir, and I'm out of here. I like the other line of it. So if anybody knows, please call in and let us know.
Yes, let's get our creative juices going.
Yeah. So if you are finding like your body is one of those bodies that just happens, to have awareness of other people on the planet, even that they exist. Like, are you even aware that other people exist outside of yourself? Because I know there are people that are just, it's kind of, they see them, but they're not really truly aware that there are other people, and that other people bodies are constantly giving off information, and we're constantly receiving this information. So
yeah, and our bodies are brilliant. They're actually, like you said, they're receiving information, transmitting information all the time, and then that's where we, the being, with chock full of thought, ideas, and judgments and beliefs, we put a screen over it. Those are the barriers that keep us from actually perceiving what our bodies are letting us know. Like, that guidance system gets kind of skewed. It's like your GPS system gets like all twisted, and you end up in Nebraska when you wanted to go to California or something. So that's why we're talking. Yeah, your relationship with your body is definitely one part of it. So.
And the choice, it's all choice. That's the thing too. Is like, we sometimes end up in these relationships, and because we've chosen them, we get into this, like, it's like as if the energy gets stagnant, or we limit it, because I'm now in a relationship, and then we've defined it as certain things, so we stick with it, and that includes like the relationships with ourselves too. So it's like, well, I've defined that I like spinach paneer, so I'm going to like it forever because that's what I've decided. But that might not be true, right? So always having communication with your body.
And I think that's where we go into like this whole thing of no exclusion. And where do we, in relationship, if we have an exclusive relationship with someone, then we exclude being able to receive from any other body. And it doesn't mean you have to copulate with them and have sex with them, but it's like, oh, I'm married, so that's all that I can go for. And then we also, if you exclude one thing in your life, you're also excluding other things. So, how many of us are excluding our bodies from our living? So, everywhere that you're excluding your body and you forget to take your body with you, or allow your body's awareness to contribute to you, will you destroy and uncreate it, and let all of that go now?
Yep.
Thank you. So, what else?
Having our bodies contributing to so many different areas of your lives. I'm just wondering, for everybody listening out there, is there an area of your life that you feel is like it's not moving forward, or there seems to be like maybe like something that's like continually, like you keep on getting this in the same rut or something? So I'm wondering if that's actually maybe sometimes a spot where we're not including our bodies in the whole creation or choice.
So if you're saying you keep like recreating or re-experiencing something that, like with your body?
Yeah. So let's say, for example, let's say, for example, you have a relationship thing, and it's like constantly the same thing over and over and over again. You're like, why won't this guy blah, blah, blah? But if we actually started to communicate with our body and asked our body, because what if a lot of that's just crap in our head that we bought, and it's not even something we desire, but if we started to communicate with our body, we might get out of these like cyclical ruts where, people talk about the repeating patterns and stuff like that. So I wonder how much of it we're actually excluding our body from, that if we were to include our body, we would get out of some of these cycles.
Yeah. I wonder, perhaps, but don't anybody try asking your body any questions.
Don't do it. Don't be like, I've got money issues. Rah, rah, rah. What if I include my body? Oh my gosh, that changes everything.
Yeah.
Oh, my relationship is rah, rah, rah. And it's like, whoa, body, would you actually desire this relationship? No. Okay, so you don't actually have to force things to work just because you chose them, unless you really, really have this like strange thing where you like to, make yourself tired and pissed off. Go for it. Keep choosing it.
Yeah.
But if you would like some ease, then you can choose it. So,
and
go ahead.
Okay, yeah. I mean, one of the things too is that I think I talked about a little bit is how we have our barriers up to receiving. And, in these questions, when you're asking your body, who would be fun to play with, who would be nurturing with my body, like who would touch me nicely and kindly, please lower your barriers and ask. And some of you might have to push your barriers down and push them down and push them down. And if you don't know what that is, even because I didn't know what that was, and I would just ask my barriers to lower and lower and lower and open to receive more. And that's just an extra piece to this whole thing about asking your body and receiving more. Because if you are asking to receive more, but you've got all these barriers up, and I'm talking energetic barriers, and, please get to know when your body is putting up a barrier. I often talk about this in my body classes, is know the feel inside of your body when you have a barrier. And it could be like, about to go public speaking or something that really scares you, and just notice, okay, is that a barrier up? And then notice when you're like in nature and you're totally laughing, and just ask, are my barriers down? And start to get to notice the sense in your body or the feel in your body of barriers up and barriers down. And when you ask your body, hey, who would be fun to play with? What would be nurturing for you, body? Lower your barriers so that you can actually start to perceive those different energies that are available to you.
Absolutely. I love that. So perceiving the energies that are available to you. For me, so today I think I wrote to you because we were discussing the show and a few things, and my body was choosing to have a migraine, and for about the last 6 months, it's been interesting that my body gets these random migraines, and I have lots of resources of things that can actually assist with changing that, and I also really like awareness. So I was asking a lot of questions about it. On the weekend, I'd actually been at a big fair. There was 5,000 people who walked through this event that I was at. I spoke to lots of people. The funny thing is I actually didn't touch any bodies, which is such a foreign thing for me, to be around that many bodies and not touch bodies. And there was so much of me that I was holding back. And I was like, I got it this afternoon. I was actually talking to Christine, and I became super aware of how much of me I was holding back that was actually creating this intensity in my head that was like, let me out, world. I would really like to touch bodies now. And then my daughter came home from school, gave me this hug, and my world started to release. I got this beautiful note on Facebook from somebody, and my body could receive it. And it was wow, my body so desires to be received and to gift that when I was feeling like I wasn't doing that, and I was in a room full of 5,000 people with barriers up, it was I get how intense it is, and how it's almost for lack of a better word, pain. It creates a lot of pain in the body.
Yeah.
So please be kind to yourselves and kind to your bodies, and just let your barriers go down and receive from everything. Even if you can't receive from everything, but you could receive, say, from me and Juna tonight, please do that. And then expand it to everything else. So.
Yeah, and if you didn't have a point of view or a judgment about, good energy or bad energy, what if lowering your barriers and being vulnerable could actually open the doors for, energies that do contribute to you. And it's kind of the opposite of what we've been taught, and, we can say our experience shows us that we will be hurt when we lower our barriers, but it's actually the opposite. When your barriers are down, you can actually perceive when the arrow is flying behind you, and you will be able to just move out of the way, as opposed to having your Michelin Man suit on or your armor suit on, and you won't be able to perceive it, and you will be so weighed down that you can't move fast. So actually, you want to be bare, naked, in the wind, perceiving everything and receiving everything. And I have an image of like being Swiss cheese and having, just the wind blow through. Like I'm receiving, but I also can let it go at the same time. Yeah. But as long as I have a point of view, oh my God, I have to hold on to this, then it sticks me, and then it creates all that crazy stuff, that intensity, when I have to hold on to it. But then when I can just release it and let it go and let it flow, it's just so much easier.
It's really cute. Yeah, so then as you were talking, I also had this awareness that part of my point of view was I was around a lot of only French-speaking people, and they would come up to the booth and they would say something in French, and my French, I have the point of view my French is limited because I only took it to grade 13. So I had this my French is limited and blah, blah, blah. Right. I can do a really great French accent, but that's about it. And so I was, between the two people, between them putting up a barrier to me, oh, you only speak English, and me going, I can't speak French, or putting up a barrier to my own receiving of it, there was so much going on that was so intense. So if I was actually willing to and if we were all willing to energetically communicate with each other, we wouldn't have the language barriers, the body barriers, all these things that we create and that actually create so-called issues in relationship. Like, I don't understand you, men don't understand women, and all this stuff that we buy as true. We all can energetically communicate. So what if we started to actually do that more and started to be able to communicate with each other truly more?
Yeah, and I just had an awareness as you were speaking that is, those things like, men don't understand me, blah, 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 those are statements. And, one of the tools is to ask a question. And that really, if in that situation with the French speakers, if you asked, oh, I wonder what it would take for them to understand me and me to understand them, what would that take? That question alone can open up doors to exactly what you're asking for now. And, this is the kind of thing, this is just a great example of that, where we go into a conclusion, oh my God, I suck at French. And then it creates exactly that. And in that moment, if there was a question, hey, what could change here? I wonder what I could understand with them and them with me. So that is a powerful tool.
Yeah. And so one of the things I was aware of was that as much as there was this language barrier thing going on, or I perceived a language barrier going on, because I invented it and created it. And so the thing that I could start to choose by day 2 of this fair was that when the people who would refuse to, I would say hello, bonjour, and they would say bonjour, they would not say hello back. I'd say, okay, cool. Some of them I would pull the energy, right? And people would kind of come back, and some of the people who were refusing to engage with me at first would start to get curious. So that's another really cool tool as well, is pulling energy. And so we were both, my mom and I were both doing that as we were in this booth together. And my mom has this great, crazy French accent that she was wah, 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 and they would think she could speak French, and she's like, no, I just have this French accent. Whatever it takes, right? So,
that's funny.
Yeah. And so she's like, I understand the other French, but the wah, wah, wah French, I'm like, someone just, what if we just go wah, wah, wah back? Whatever's going to work for us. So, I get that we actually have this communication sort of thing too with our bodies, right? We're like, but I don't understand my body's language. How do you listen to your body? I don't understand it. It's like a foreign language, you know. There's that thing there too, right? So, what if your body speaks every language?
I like that accent that you're using, whatever that is.
That's a Madoc accent. I'm imitating my neighbors right now.
Oh, funny.
So yeah, your body probably, and you too, like as beings, you know, chances are you've spoken every accent under the planet. You've spoken every language under the planet. This universe, other universes, right? So chances are you can actually not only understand your other people, but chances are you can actually understand your body. Chances are pretty good.
Yeah. And, you know, I love, Danielle Carter. She does a lot of the Right Body for You and Access. And, she says stuff like, well, if your body is burping and farting and you want to vomit and you have diarrhea after you eat something, that's your body talking to you. So our bodies are talking to us and communicating with us all the time. And we think, oh, well, it's really serious and I have to figure this all out. Well, chances are most of you are already doing it. You just don't call it that. And, it is, what would it take for that communication to be easy? What would it take for it to be fun? What would it take for it to be playful? And to ask your body a question. And, if you don't get an answer right away, what I say is just choose. So if you're not sure if you should eat this or that, just choose something, and then in the choice, you will get the awareness of what your body is actually asking for. And like I said at the beginning too, it's like a partner dance that you are practicing your being and your body. How do you dance together? What is your body saying? What is your being saying? And sometimes it feels like, you're sitting down at the table and you're having negotiation talks. And other times it's just more like this sort of dance that you've been practicing a long time, and it just flows and it's easy and you don't even have to think anymore. And what if all of it was, your relationship with your body? And what if there was no right or wrong way to have that communication and that connection with your body? Would it be more fun? Would there be more freedom for you?
There'd be way more fun, right? For me, there would be way more fun if I didn't have to get the communication correct, whether that's with my body or whether it's speaking French. It's like there's definitely a correct way of communicating, and I'm obviously not doing it yet. No, but the body thing is I have actually been playing more and more with those tools from Right Body for You and from Access, and they are such a gift. And for those of you who have no idea what we're talking about, you can actually look up the Right Body for You classes on the accessconsciousness.com site, and as well as Juna Guetter will be in Toronto on May 5th in the evening for an evening class from 7 to about 9 o'clock. You can come out to that as well. It's a Right Body for You intro class, and you can find that also under Juna Guetter on the accessconsciousness.com site. And we also have the pleasure of having Danielle Carter come to Toronto September 16th for Right Body for You 2.5 days. How's it get any better than that? So everybody around the world, come to Toronto. Come play with us. Yay. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to, my body is really looking forward to your 3-day body class, to the point where it's like, please, I really would like to be touched. And so as much as I live down the street from a phenomenal body worker, my mother, we have created these really super busy schedules. It's like we actually have to travel to Toronto to work on each other. That's how cool we are.
How does it get better than that?
So if you notice that your body is having communication with you and you'd like to be able to communicate with it more, please look up some of these classes. They're such a gift to bodies, in ways that other energy classes that I've taken, it's just so different than other energy classes I've taken. So, yeah.
And there's just a lot of practical tools that you get in the Right Body for You and then 3-day body class. Practical tools. Like, people say, oh, you just have to let that go. And you're like, how do I let that go? It's been going on for 30 years. And, the tools that we do in these classes actually help. And we've alluded to and given you some of those tools tonight, like ask a question. Body, who would you like to have a relationship with? Would you like a relationship? And then, the relationship with your being and your body. Like question is one thing, and never come to conclusion or decision or judgment. Always being in the question and choosing. Choice creates more awareness with your body. And if you're not in a relationship and you really would like to be in a relationship, ask if your body would like to be in that relationship that you get so excited about, you the being. So maybe your body is letting you know something. Because our being has lots of great ideas. Oh, it would be great to have sex with this person, but your body might be screaming, no. And, that's, and some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. After the fact, you're like, oh, I feel like crap. And, the other person that you've had sex with feels great. That's maybe a story for another time, but please ask your body.
And
what's that?
Ask some of those key questions that we've talked about on the show on different episodes before, like the will this be easy and will this be fun question.
Yeah.
I always find it funny, the question, will I learn something? Because I always learn something from everything. Doesn't necessarily mean I like that lesson or that information, but I will learn something. So I like to throw in, like, will this enhance my life and living? And will it actually increase my money flows? Because it's a funny thing, but choosing bodies that are fun to play with can actually increase your money flows. And it doesn't mean that you're being a prostitute. It just means choosing bodies that are fun to play with. Whether you're dancing, horseback riding, or whether you're copulating, that all of that vibration of joy will actually bring more money to your life. So ask about that.
Money likes to come to the party of happiness and joy.
Yeah, I mean, if I was money and people were like sitting around grumpy and had all the lights off and were playing somber death marches, I'd probably be like, I'm not going there. I'm not interested in death marches.
Oh, that's funny.
I'd like something fun. I'd like to move my booty. I don't know, something good. But if you're a person who's into somber death marches, that's a whole other story. So.
Yeah, go fill your boots. That's a choice too.
Enjoy it all. So I am so glad that you could join me tonight, Juna, for this great conversation on our bodies and choosing and relationships, and really getting that it is like asking questions all the time and not having to like stick yourself even with your choice. Like, your choice is not the final frontier. Your choice is a choice, and you can choose again and again and again. It's not the end of the world. So I think so many of us get stuck in that. I chose it, and now I'm stuck with it, and like, all the crap that goes with that. So, keep choosing, keep asking questions, keep playing. Do you have any final words? We've got about 30 seconds to end.
How much fun can you have with your body? And how much can that contribute to you in your life and all of your relationships? It's easy. It can be easy. It can be fun. It can be joyful. Even if you have pain, even if you have crap going on, it is a choice to be happy, and it's a choice to receive from everything and everyone.
Cool.
And if it wasn't wrong,
check out Juna's website, synergyinmotion.info.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for choosing to listen to The Pleasure Zone. Milica Jelenic will return next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Pacific on a2zen.fm. We hope you'll join us. Until then, have the best week of your life by choosing to be turned on and tuned in to your body.